Hey folks, KILT-MAN here. KILT-MAN at your lethal services. How are you all? You're all doing very, very well. Lethal Weapon 5. Yeah, it's never gonna happen. But Mighty Mel Braveheart himself is still insisting. I'm doing it. I'm directing it. It's gonna happen. Yes, it's languishing in development hell as it's been for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And then of course we lost Richard Donner, the director of the first 4 Lethal Weapons. And yeah, but his dying words to Mighty Mel were, you know, if I pop me clogs, if I don't make it, in that big gruff voice of his, if I don't make it, Mel, you've got to do it. Can you do it for me, boy? Can you do it for me? Well, sure thing, Dick. Sure thing, I'll do that. And even gruffer voice. They've got massively, hugely gruff voices. But Mighty Mel said, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I've done several videos on this over the last few years about this project coming back again and then again and then again. Danny Glover is now 139 or something. And he don't look too well to me. Mighty Mel himself with his big grey torpedo Taliban beard, looks like Roy Keane. They're both too old for this shit now. But Mighty Mel at the Boston Fan Expo, the weekend just gone. So literally, this is Monday now, but Saturday and Sunday just gone. He was on a big Q&A panel, and he was asked about Lethal Weapon 5. Are you going to do this? Oh yeah, we're doing it. It's going ahead. You know, we've written the script now. Apparently Richard Donner had written pretty much a third of the script, or been active in a third of the script, and then obviously he died, and several years ago now. And Mighty Mel and the screenwriter Richard Wenk, he unfortunately named Wenk, could have been far worse, but it's still pretty bad as it is, finished the script off. And I can quote what Mel Gibson said. I can read it out to you. But as much as I'm a massive Martin Riggs fan, I love the first movie to bits. It has an emotional quality which impacted on my life, and it's sort of a very spiritual connection I had with Martin Riggs at the time. I was only a teenager, but I'd done that as well. And so this film came out. And I love Mel Gibson because of the Mad Max movies. And like, oh my God, this just blew me away. And I had the hair anyway. And, you know, but anyway, as anyone will tell you, in my sort of late teenage, everyone, work colleagues, love interests, friends, family, he's Martin Riggs. Because I was a reckless, absolutely ridiculously dangerous bastard to be around. Not unpleasant, just I didn't care. And when this film came out, I was like, oh my God, that's me. And when Mighty Mel does the suicide bit, I'm afraid that really, because I'd already tried that. I've been out with a girl for a year. This is just prior to Lethal Weapon coming out, 87, and she ditched me, the bitch. And I was armed at the time. This is all legal. This was back in the UK, back in the 80s. I had a Magnum 357 Smith & Wesson revolver. I had, you know it, a Beretta 9mm, which was, they were all the rage at the time. I had an M16 semi-automatic. I had various other weapons and other bits and bobs. But I had a moment where I didn't use the Beretta. It was the Magnum 357, because I thought, well, that's going to just take my head right off. Anyway, I know that's a really bad sort of introduction to this, but I'm telling you why Lethal Weapon means so much to me. The sequels, less so, because the script became nothing but Riggs, son of a bitch, Riggs, motherfucker, son of a bitch. What? And they became preposterous. Joe Pesci came in, of course. Leo gets. Get it? Because Leo gets. he's a great character, but the films became comedies. The chemistry was still there, the charm was still there. The oft-used tagline, "the magic is back," well, okay. The first film is hard-hitting, written by Shane Black, who of course played Hawkins in Predator, and also destroyed the Predator. But he wrote Lethal Weapon, and it is a great genius buddy cop movie, which it didn't break any mold. You had buddy cop movies before in the 70s, and even further back than that, but it made it of the 80s. The rock music, the Eric Clapton, Michael Kamen score is outstanding. The pulsating set pieces, the glitz and glamour, and the seedy underside of LA, Hollywood Boulevard and all that. It brought all that, and the big hair. It was 80s rock star, pop star, cop thriller, and we all embraced it and loved it. So it had 4 movies of increasingly, ever decreasing values, shall we say. But enjoyable, but the first one nailed character stuff, vulnerabilities, hard action, gritty realism, great dialogue, and great music. It was just the perfect chemical coming together and made the perfect reaction, and we all loved it and embraced it, and it became an iconic buddy cop movie sensation. Many years go by, Mel Gibson falls from grace hugely. You could, 1 minute you're cock of the walk, next a feather duster. Yeah. And exactly, and Mel Gibson went through the ringer, didn't he? But he owns up to it all. He said, I was born an alcoholic. What can I do about that? So sometimes my mouth will shoot off. But we know he got set up by one of his wives. He got set up by her for those phone calls, which are horrible. They are massively horrible. And I've talked about this before, but he was baited by her to do that because she knew he would go off on one and she could incriminate him. Anyway, marvelous director, incredible, visceral, emotional film director. Man Without a Face, Braveheart, obviously, Apocalypto, oh god, the Christ one with Jim Caviezel, JC, Jesus Christ. Pure video nasty. Not a film I enjoy, by the way, but anyway, it is what it is. But a great director, and loves the classics. Hamlet as well, But Martin Riggs, alongside Mad Max, are the roles which, that is our mighty Mel. So to see him come back as Martin Riggs would be awesome. Is it going to happen? I absolutely doubt it. But anyway, enough of my waffle. Let's let him waffle on now. This is what he said, right? And this is at the Fan Expo in Boston at the weekend just gone. Right. Richard Wenk is the script writer. He's finished the script with, and he said there were good things about each one, the first 4 movies. But as you say, they tend to get diluted out there a lot. And Donner, when he was 90 years old, was working on the 5th. And of course, he passed away in the middle. So I got together with the writer, and we completed it thinking, what would Donner do? What would Donner do? That's what we were thinking in the room. And I think that this 5th script is better than all the others. You would say that, of course you would. It's better than all of the others. But it's tied up in some kind of industrial film hell that you can't extract. You can't extract it to make it. Because Paramount's taken over Warner Brothers, and he thinks that's going to screw things up. It might also free the movie up to be made. Who knows? Richard Wenk and I finished the script, and we were going to go into production, but it just never got the wheels under it. I think Warner's got into some quicksand at the time. So it got buried somewhere. And now I think this David Ellison guy over at Paramount has absorbed or will absorb Warner's, or it looks like he will. That's the the big takeover of Warner's, the ongoing takeover of Warner's. And maybe they'll take the chains off that one, and you might see that in a year or so, meaning Lethal Weapon 5 in a year or so. So what would it be about? What would the story for Lethal Weapon 5 be? Okay. He says, this is Mighty Mel, it only harks back to the others in the minimal way, but it's a story all on its own. The characters are quite different. They're older. No shit, Sherlock. One's retired. He was retiring in the first movie in '87. He was retiring then. He was 50 odd. One's retired. The other one's on a desk job. So that's Martin Riggs on a desk job. He's putting on too much weight and it's low tech. He's putting on too much weight. I like that because, back in the 80s and 90s, Again, I'm basing it on myself, and a lot of you guys will be the same. We all emulated our film heroes. I lifted weights a hell of a lot in the 80s when I was a teenager, and the growth hormone, and I was huge, and I had the big Mighty Mel hair, and I fucking, yes, I loved myself. I did. I was big, and I was fucking yes. And anyway, but then I got married, and everything slipped off. Then I joined the Marines and got even slimmer because I was running up and down mountains all the time and abseiling and climbing hills and leaping onto ships and helicopters. So I lost a ton of weight, but I was super lean and powerful. And anyway, so I'm basing my life. I'm basing it on this. And of course I had a desk job as well. I was in the Ministry of Defence for too many years. So the other one's got a desk job. He's putting on too much weight and it's low tech. This being the film, it doesn't get into the big explosions and all this sort of stuff. But it still has the energy and I think the drive of a big action film. Like, let's say for instance, Apocalypto. He had to bring in his own movie, Apocalypto. It's a foot chase, right? Which it is. Apocalypto is a massive foot chase through the jungles and all that, and it's a very nasty, exciting movie, very emotive. But it's kind of filmed like a car chase, so it still has all the elements of what was in the other films, but not nearly so complicated. But it deals more about the people in it. Now, I like that because he knows, look, the other films got too big and outrageous. Riggs was getting on police motorbikes and flying off bridges and all sorts of stuff. Things were exploding left, right and centre. You can't do that now. Well, you can, but they can't make that look convincing. Not with these two guys now. So it deals more about the people in it. It's what he said about the first movie. Donner realised it, Richard Donner. I think he did all those films, and sadly he's passed away. But he sort of knew what he had, and Shane Black wrote a good script. It was timely, it was the 80s. We were used to these tough guys on film who kind of had it all together, but they were tough and two-dimensional in a lot of ways. So you're talking about, obviously, Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Your Rockies, your Rambos, your Terminators, and your Commando. Well, Predator was about to come out as well. So, but they were tough and two-dimensional in a lot of ways. They were resourceful, go-getters. You knew they wouldn't lose. So talking about Lethal Weapon. So this one was better because the main protagonists in the story both had kind of vulnerabilities. And one was crazy, and the other was scared. And it went a little deeper than the usual action flick. Exactly. Gibson's character, Martin Riggs, is, well, in the films, he's a Special Forces veteran from Vietnam. But in the novelisation, he's actually a Marine Force recon, a recon Marine, still highly elite, an assassin, behind enemy lines. He's gone to Laos and Cambodia. He's done things which the government never admitted to. That's his character. So he knows about the mercenaries, like General McAllister, who are now bringing drugs in and all that. Like, He knows about them and how elite they were, but he's better than them. He knows capoeira, he does all the martial arts, and he lost his wife, so he's on the edge. He can't quite commit suicide. He wants to, but he can't quite pull the trigger himself. So he goes out and literally he'll seek the most dangerous scenarios. I'll just go straight into it because I've got nothing to lose. And if I win the day, great, and I'll fight again the next day. And that's the brilliant thing about Martin Riggs. He's a stick of dynamite. The fuse is lit, and he's gonna combust at some point. But he wants that. He needs to be taken out, but he's gonna greet disaster and death on his own terms. And it's an outstandingly very three-dimensional character. A lot of depth to it, a lot of vulnerability, as he says, and it does make it unique. And Danny Glover, Roger Murtaugh, he's a career, copper detective. He's seen things, done things, but he's a family man. He's got kids. Martin Riggs never got kids. He lost his wife horribly young, and that was it. Blew his mind, and all the things he's done in the past. He's trying to reconcile that. But Roger Murtaugh is the foundation, the anchor, the family life that Riggs never had, and this is why that bizarre combination come together and really genuinely works and gels, and it's very moving for an action movie, which is super exciting. Tons of set pieces. It's great stuff. Fights, car chases, foot chases. Once it ramps up, it goes. It goes there. Pure 80s excess. But you've got these characters who have multiple levels of dimensionality and nuance and texture, and it's truly tremendous. Just trying to think, is there any other quotes? I don't think there is. But what's he said about this one? That obviously Martin Riggs is now, well, how old is Mel Gibson now? I mean, Martin Riggs would not be on the force. So what is he doing? Is he a consultant? Is he an advisor? To LAPD, sitting behind a desk. I think the way this way, if it's going to happen, and what this script is, and we do not know what the script story is. We don't know what it is. We know that Murtaugh has retired, but they're still going to be big buddies. They've embraced. In the end of the first movie, they are now bosom buddies. Reconciliation. They've learned the fallibilities of one another, and Gibson's character has found a new family, a new reason to live, because he's seen what Murtaugh has, and he loves that family. Of course, as the films go on, he meets Rennie Russo. He also meets Patsy Kensit with her fried egg nipple titties in Lethal Weapon 2. And we also learn that Derek O'Connor killed Martin Riggs' wife. And I think that's one of the worst things I've ever encountered in a movie. I like Lethal Weapon 2, the full uncut version. When it arrived in the UK, it was heavily cut. When he finally got the full uncut version, wow, it was a much better movie. Much better movie. It's funny how violence and more swearing can actually make a film a better, more hard-hitting, movie, because that's what was needed. To cut it down and water it down was a disaster. But I hated that. Why do you have to link it in that Derek O'Connor's character had, this South African, had killed, tried to kill. There was a hit on Martin Riggs. You're getting too close to our organisation, so I drove your car right off the fucking cliff, and I went down to the wreck and I pulled back this massive mop of bloody hair. It was your wife, right? She didn't die straight away. It took a bit of time. And Gibbo was like, fucking I hate that. It's far better to have Martin Riggs' wife die in a car accident. Just the horrible way that fate plays tricks. You can't guarantee stepping outside your front door in the morning, or in my case, the drawbridge gets lowered down, and I cross the moat and go, but you know, there's stagecoaches and all sorts, and there's trolls and ogres, you know, all over the Kilted realm. I could get stomped by a dragon, you know, easily. It's a risky business stepping outside your front door. I think it's better that Martin Riggs' wife died just by sheer accident, and that he can't comprehend that. So it actually lessens his character and the story of his evolution of Martin Riggs by being told, oh, it was actually a hit, meant to be for you, but we killed your wife instead. Sorry about that. You know. Oh, it just no. I thought that was really, and this marked the decline of the sequels, which just became comedy. Okay, let's be honest. We thought before with Jet Li, it does ramp things up in the sort of the brutality stakes, and they're both too old for that shit. And that was way back in what, 1990? When was it? 6, 97, something like that. And Gibbo had his hair. Martin Riggs had his hair cut short, and they all had babies and all that, and fucking grandkids, and oh god, it all went bizarre. It's just soap opera. Enjoyable, but soap opera. I think if this does get made, and what Gibbo's hinting at there is this script will be darker and more serious. There's no word on Joe Pesci's character coming back. I think he was first mooted years ago, and if we're going to definitely get this on the cards, he was going to be in there. Rene Russo was going to be in there. Everyone was going to be back there who was still alive. But now, I don't know. I think this will go sort of like that old novel series, The Detective, which Die Hard is based on. And Frank Sinatra played the character of the detective in the film The First Deadly Sin. And I think it might go nice and dark. I would prefer that. With these two character actors now much older, Gibson reflecting on maybe, is he still married to Rene Russo? I would wager not. I would wager that Myrto is now, the kids have flown the coop and all that, like, so it's just him and his missus, and they're both very old now, and Gibson's much older. He's put on weight, as he says, and all that. Got a big fucking beard on him, you know, a big Roy Keane going on, and and there'll be, I think it'll be like a niggling case which is pissing Martin Riggs off. A proper detective show. He says there, this film will be a foot chase as opposed to a car chase. What he means is no big explosions, a big showboat and set piece mayhem. He means it's going to be just like, you know, detective work and chasing down people and following up clues. Myrto's not working with the cops anymore. He's retired, but Gibson needs him as the foundation, the anchor. So he'll go back for advice, and the two will be, you know, on Myrto's boat, you know. Is this what you're looking for, Captain? And they'll popping cans and all that, like. I think that'll be the sort of scenario. I don't think you need to have the bigger family. This would be a more streamlined film. If it can work, it'll be more streamlined. Mainly Riggs and Myrto, and doggedly following up clues, but much older than wheezing, puffing, and you know, just. Would you have Gibbo chain smoking again? They did cut that out, didn't they, as the films went on, if I remember rightly. It was always an issue, but they were like flicking the cigarettes out of his gob and all. It was like, oh yeah, he started eating dog biscuits. It got so stupid. Lethal Weapon 3 was just, oh Jesus Christ, a mess of a movie. Cop killers. Oh, you kill a lot of fucking people. You kill a lot of fucking people. They all had an issue. Lethal Weapon 2 was about apartheid in South Africa. Sledgehammer. The 2003 was about the gangs in LA and like kids picking up weapons, and like Gibson in these movies had shot hundreds and hundreds of people, as you know, Murto says. But suddenly, oh, there's a kid been shot there. Oh God, don't look at him, Roger. Don't look at him. Leave him, Roger. They've both shot hundreds of people, for fuck's sake. And it was just, again, that sledgehammer, boof. You know, too obvious, too overt, too laboured. 2004, it did try to change things. You had Rush Hour, hadn't you? Rush Hour had changed the genre again a little bit, being more chop socky, and also, you know, the cross-cultural sort of thing. So you bring Jet Li into 2004, and he can beat the shit out of the pair of them. Like, and you know, it doesn't matter how much skills Martin Riggs has got. You know, he can't quite compete, and he's wheezing. He can't catch up. And that was great. That was great. But the comedy was still in there. I think this one can work, but it's got to be more serious. It's got to. They're older guys. You've got to acknowledge that. They're gonna have little wisecracks between the two, a little bit of banter between the two of them, like, you know, Murto's in a fucking wheelchair or whatever on a Zimmer frame and all that. Like, whatever. You can have all that, and you can have a great, serious, dark detective case that they're involved in, probably, you know, off the books, because there's no way Riggs is working with the LAPD. There's no way. He'd have to be a consultant, an advisor. At his age, he's not pounding a fucking beat, is he? He's not riding on the fucking cruiser. He's not doing any of that patrolling. He's not doing any of that shit. You know, it's not going to happen. But also, as I'm saying this, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd love it to happen, because I want Mel Gibson to come back with something which is a multiplex pleaser. He's a marvellous filmmaker. He's a man with many, many faults and flaws, which he fully admits. I love the guy. He's religious. I am not. He's alcoholic. So am I. He's had multiple failed relationships. I had them back in the 80s when I was a teenager, but I've been married for 36 years or whatever it is. Like, it's a long, long time. And he's got 101 kids, and even more Dalmatians. I've only got 2, but I still love the guy. I still hang on every word he says, because he knows who he is. He knows he's got loads of issues, and he works them out, and then they come back again. Well, that's life. That's what people are. I hate Hollywood that dresses up over these things. You know, they as much plastic surgery as these stars have, they plastic surgerize their spirit and their soul as well. You know, and they go through detox, and they have these journeys, and like everyone loves them. But Gibbo, you know, the world turned against him. And you may feel the same way. You may feel that, no, he went too far. I've heard those tapes in all of their nasty, gnarly, horrendous infamy. But I know what she was doing, and she set him up. I know, you can hear it on the recordings. She is baiting him and goading him, knowing, because he's completely lost it. I'm going to say this, and he'll go down this path, and it's incriminating him all the more. Yeah, it was dead obvious. It was a setup. But the guy's movie making savvy is second to none. This guy can command huge amounts of extras, great practical effects, huge set piece mayhem, also great scenes of intimacy and poignancy. And he can direct and act in the film as well. Gibson is a superstar. I will not hear anything other than that. And I love him to bits. Will this film get made? No. I genuinely don't think it will get made. Do I hope it will get made? Yes, I do. And I hope it's what I just said, that it's a darker, older, grittier, no glitz and glamour, no set piece mayhem. It's a dark thriller, but with these two guys that you've known, you've grown up with, and they've got this camaraderie, but they're going to face a final, horrendous, situation. But it'll be sort of like, I don't know, Silence of the Lambs, that sort of thing. A deep, dark serial killer. I don't know. Let's just hope it isn't like Die Hard 2. No, not Die Hard 2. Die Hard 3. Die Hard with a Vengeance. Where it's bloody, the brother comes back to wreak havoc on John McClane. You're like, oh, fuck off. You don't want any connections to the first movie, as in like, oh, I'm Mr. Joshua's brother, I'm his long lost son, played by Jake Busey, perhaps. No, don't do that. Don't link things in. Let's just have the story unfold with the guys that you know, but they're way, way older, and they may make reference to previous adventures and scenarios and situations and characters. They may make reference to that. That's fair dues. We all do. I see my old mates all the time. And what do? We talk about the past. Obviously, that's what we do. We've got no idea what we've done this day or what we're going to do tomorrow, but we can talk about the past at length, What you're hearing right now is the fabulous trailer music for Lethal Weapon. Now, I didn't just get that. I forgot the guy's name now, but Alexander Eric Johnson, something like that. He did the score, he did the trailer music for Lethal Weapon 2, Die Hard, Predator, and a very rock based, you got guitars going. And of course, Michael Kamen scored Die Hard and Lethal Weapon with Eric Clapton on the Lethal Weapon movies, so the guitars were in there. But let's just listen to this, because this is just fucking awesome. I'm gonna turn it up. He's a criminal's worst nightmare. It's all synth with you thrashing guitars and a bit of percussion. He's a criminal's worst nightmare. A cop who enjoys the danger. And what was his name? The guy did all the voiceovers during the 80s. It's did so many movie voiceovers and trailers. Oh, Ed something or other. Oh, God. Should have written it down, shouldn't I? But I didn't. And obviously he does Predator as well. Well, I think he does Predator. And Die Hard. Now, this summer, we're bringing the heat back. It's all that kind of voiceover shite, but they're great. They're very 80s. Ah, it's great. You ever met anyone you didn't kill? Well, I haven't killed you yet. But don't do me no favours. Here's another version of that same trailer music. It's almost like bamboo in it. Cops that break all the rules. You had that with Dirty Harry. You had that in the 60s as well with various other cops in certain much lesser movies. Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood broke that mould. Then you'd have Bronson, and you'd have, oh god, so many other people would follow suit. But the 80s were bigger, brasher, bolder. I mean, these guys, you know, there was no way they were writing reports on what they've done. They've gone out for it, you know, on the day shift and killed about 10, 15 people. They've caused numerous car wrecks. Cars have gone through fucking restaurant windows. People are screaming everywhere, like there's babies in jeopardy. They're effing and blinding all over the place, like, no one ever gets them done. And then if they happen 3, they get busted back, don't they? For, you know, Roger, grab that cat. You know, you said cut the blue wire. Did I say blue? Well, I meant red. The biggest explosion in LA at that time. In fact, it might still be the biggest filmed explosion, planned explosion in LA, when the entire building drops down. It's stupid, and the bomber squad just go past and go like, and they're like, the cat. It's stupid, but this is why, you know, I enjoy the sequels, but I hate them at the same time, because they're pure comedies. You cannot take, the stakes are not there. They just simply aren't there. This is Predator. The same guy did this. This is great. But again, it's so similar sounding. You know, drum pads and all that. The 80s. Oh, folks, if a genie doth appear before me after some heavy rubbing of a lamp, so then you've got 3 wishes. What's your first wish? I want a never-ending bottle of whiskey. Never-ending bottle of whiskey. Okay, boom, there it is. And your next 2 wishes, I'll have 2 more of those, please. Now. The obvious one, I know, but I'll have 2 more of these never-ending bottles of whiskey. A never-ending bottle of whiskey. I want to not look like a bag of elbows. I want to look like I used to look. I don't want to look like some Adonis. I want to look like I used to look back in the 90s when I was at my absolute prime. Yeah, it's very, very altruistic. I know, very, very sort of, you know, me, but these are my fucking wishes. And the third one, I want to go back to the 80s. With the knowledge that I have right now, I want to go back to the 80s and enjoy these movies and know what's coming. Place some bets, make millions and millions and millions of pounds and dollars, and get my ranch in Montana. Buy that lighthouse from the fog, Port Reyes, California. Buy that. I don't know. Here's the wonderful reprise of the main theme for Lethal Weapon. Very orchestral, very symphonic. This is good. This is glorious. This. You've heard it before. I've done these videos before, and I've got a feeling we'll be doing them again. See, Michael Kamen died. It was 2003, 2004. It's a hell of a long time ago. He'd done Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He'd done Event Horizon. He had done, well, Highlander. All the Lethal Weapons. Die Hard. Well, Die Hard 1, 2 and 3. Oh my god. You know. And Life Force. With Henry Mancini as well, did his own version, but See, we're all getting older, and this is the impact that news like this has. And I see Gibson interviewed all the time, and he's got one of those faces behind that big beard, but he's always been very expressive. It's kind of like, well, you know, people ask him a question, and he's going like, he's gaining like crazy. Do you know why? The Three Stooges. He loves the Three Stooges. He loves the old 1930s, you know, style comedians. Three Stooges, you know, Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin. Well, that's a bit earlier, I know, but Laurel Hardy. He loves all these sort of characters who do very sort of exaggerated expressions. He does that. So when people ask him questions on like a TV show, so Mel, you like using guns and shooting people a lot, don't you? And while they're asking that question, he's going like, and it's almost like a distracting tactic to put them off. I like it. I find the guy fascinating. Interviewed and his filmmaking processes, his mindset, and watching him on camera, I think he's just an endlessly fascinating character. And here we go with Honeymoon Suite. This is the song that everyone hated at the time, and I absolutely friggin' loved it, and I still do. I love the song, but the video that they did for this song, the end credits song for Lethal Weapon, oh dear God, they've all got the big hair, and it's all like, it's so like poncy, posy. It's really, really overtly bad, you know. But I love the song. See, when you lose control and you scare yourself sometimes. I did so much crazy, stupid things. For love, for the hell of it, for my mates, for a laugh, you know. The most dangerous, ridiculous things you can imagine. I did them. I was known as Mad Mac, but when this film came out, I was like, that guy, and everyone else knew it as well. And my dad, Big Kill Papa, loved this movie as well. He's a big fan of Dirty Harry, and you know Big Kill Papa. I've talked about him, oh God, so many times. But he loved Martin Riggs as well, which was a bizarre one because of Martin Riggs's vulnerabilities. My dad didn't like that side of things. You know, he wanted John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. But this guy is like, he loves Snake Plissken. He loves Snake Plissken as well, you know. But again, there's no vulnerability there. But with Martin Riggs, you've got this psychological damage, and my dad was ordinarily wouldn't, you know. But I've no, nothing to do with that. Rubbish, stupid. But he wasn't like that with this guy. He loved Lethal Weapon. Actually, he saw all the 4 movies. He loved them all. But I was sitting there grumbling at too much comedy. But my dad even liked Joe Pesci as well, like. And he's the kind of character my dad would normally loathe, you know. Okay. Yeah. They fuck you at the drive-thru. You know. Folks, right, I'm going to bug out right here and now. Even though the music's got even more exciting now. But comment below, let me know what you think. This is what Gibbo has said in the last 2 days. And I believe he wants to get this done. I totally believe this is what, it's on the cards, it's the plan. But will it happen? I don't think so. I truly don't think it's going to happen. But if it did, I want it to be a low-key detective, almost noir, neo-modern noir, sort of hunt down a killer, interview people, you're working behind the scenes, the LAPD is like, you know, you're not on this case, it's not your case, but Martin Riggs can't let it go for some reason, he can't let it go. It's the last crusade for him, but he's going to bring in his wheelchair bound, infirm, dementia ridden Murto, who's sitting there dribbling. Riggs! Son of a bitch, Riggs! Well, that's the wheels on his wheelchair. I don't know. Lethal Weapon, awesome. Diminishing returns afterwards. Trying to get this off the ground now. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Are we flogging a dead horse? I already know what many of you are going to say. I know, and I'm with you on that. But if, as I said, they did it seriously, they made a detective story out of it, and Gibbo seems to be saying that, you know, we're too old for this shit. So it's not going to be a big helter-skelter mayhem set piece after set piece, you know, maelstrom of action. It's going to be a slow burn detective piece, which of course Gibson's done many times before with Bloodfather and Payback. He knows how to do this sort of thing, and if he's directing it, and he's co-written it as well with Richard Wenk, it's got a Gibson stamp all over it. Right, anyway folks, I'm out of here. So in the meantime, in this ever like, let's just, I don't know, let's all grow old, too old for this shit, in between time. Please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. I'm going to see you all on a police motorcycle going off the edge of a bridge near you. Later. Riggs, son of a bitch, Riggs. What a script. That's basically the script for 3 entire movies after the first one.